I recently had the pleasure, or responsibility depending on how you look at it, of writing an essay for my English class whenever I felt I had an opinion about, or had a lot to say for, or whatever. And you can guess, by the title of this video, exactly what I chose to write about. Before you ask, no, I'm not sharing the essay itself. In this essay, though, I asked myself the question of whether or not Entry Point has a moral. Does it have a sort of lesson that's supposed to be taken out of it? And after a lot of thinking, and to be completely honest, rewatching my own lore video, I eventually came to the conclusion that, yeah, Entry Point does have a moral. I argued that its moral is wrapped within its complex narrative, and albeit short-lived characters. There is so much to this amazing story that I honestly fell in love with it again. So, after all that, I wanted to just sort of talk about it again. This video isn't going to reveal hidden details or give any operators leaks, because God knows I've given out way too many of those, but rather, just to talk about the story and how I feel about it all. To start, I realize I've never actually gone over Confession on this channel, with the exception being a brief mention of it in my Falcon case study video, so it might not be a bad idea to go over it again now. And wow, this thing packs a punch. There's a lot to unpack here. I mean, from the start, you've got, like, it's clear that the people who are talking here are definitely Rose and Jackdaw, and from the beginning, it seems clear that she's just sort of like, oh, I want to get out of this. I want to get out of this, this Shadow War, the Shadow Organization. All of this is done for money, and it seems like she just doesn't really want to take part in this anymore. I don't know what. All we know from Rose's personnel files is she was hired as a hacker from Monaco, and that she had her own thing. She ran like a cicada event similar to like the one in real life, and it just seems so interesting, the dichotomy that you've got between these characters, because Jackdaw, very clearly, he wants revenge. He's taking revenge on, the director for bringing him down, for using him and then trying to throw him out like he was just some tool, and then he came back, right? I mean, he came back and he wanted to use Rose as an insider to really get this revenge going. And it seems it's so clear how different the two of them were. And she wasn't just an insider. She was someone who really wanted to bring justice to this world. And it's crazy. What really sold to me, though, was honestly talking about Project Onyx at the very end, telling Jackdaw, oh, they have no idea it's at Lake House, knowing full well Halcyon does. Meaning she lies to Jackdaw. And, this is obviously the last call they have, because she's supposedly killed after this. And it's just, it's so interesting seeing how these characters, with very clearly different goals, try to work together in this. It's amazing. It's just amazing how Satono managed to write these characters that are so clearly very different, but also make the character feel like they're very similar. They're all characters that are trying to take part in this Shadow War. They have different, motivations for wanting to take part in it all. And it hits, man, it hits. And so my essay just sort of covered what I believed Entry Point's moral was. I ended up writing about how I believed the moral for Entry Point was that revenge doesn't bring about anything, like, meaningful. There's nothing meaningful to come out of revenge. You're never actually going to achieve anything you set out to do. And this is kind of like a consistent theme throughout the game, because, when the freelancer has to deal with their revenge, when they realize that Rose is dead, it never ends out well for them. They end up dying, obviously. And when it comes to, like, Jackdaw, for example, his revenge, he follows through with it, and even though he lives in the end to tell the tale, it doesn't really, it obviously isn't very, satisfying. If you look at Sunset, it's very clear that he feels so distraught about it, like it was his fault. So one of, Sparrow's lines is like, oh, it's still not your fault, even though, as though Jackdaw blames himself for what happened by losing two of his closest friends, being Rose and the freelancer. And Entry Point just keeps bringing up this idea, this theme, that revenge never brings about anything meaningful. And that's really powerful to me, because it keeps showing up over and over again, I know there's a strong majority of people in the Entry Point community that don't believe Rose is alive. Even after my video, if Rose is alive, which is, this is a big if Rose is alive, then it really adds so much more it makes the freelancer's death so much more meaningful, so much more impactful, because then you're left with this character who thought they were doing the right thing, going after Rose for, for revenge, or going after Halcyon for revenge, for killing their best friend, Rose. And it's clear that Rose never wanted that. She never wanted anyone to go after anyone for revenge, and she's the only one who actually understood it. But even still, our character continued down this path to the point where they sacrificed themselves to destroy this organization, at least one of the bunkers. It's sad. It's really sad to see, Rose's reaction to this, an epilogue. She asks the question to the, I don't know who's to the player, to like whoever. She asks the question, was it worth it, and did we make a real difference? Because at the end of the day, nothing really changed besides removing Halcyon and obviously Phoenix. Nothing actually came out of the revenge that was trying to be, done throughout this entire story. And she never wanted any of it. She never wanted the freelancer to continue down this path. It's also worth looking at the dialogue for Kill House. If you look at Kill House's dialogue during the Nightmare mode, which is obviously the most open area, at least, the one where Rose talks the most, she says things, like, oh, this isn't right, it's not what should have happened. And I think from there it's kind of clear that Rose never really wanted the freelancer to go out on this revenge scheme. They wanted the freelancer to escape while they still had the opportunity to. Rose saved their life by telling Jackdaw about what's going to happen for dedication, and she never really wanted the freelancer to die for this. And then of course they had to have their revenge, didn't they? Couldn't just walk away. And it's just so sad, especially again if Rose is alive. You get left with this character who got out, who managed to escape everything, and really wanted nothing more than to, get out with her friends too. And she couldn't even have that. And everyone else just kept going with their revenge plots, with blowing each other's bases up, with, sabotage, with all these missions that, while they're fun to play, obviously, they clearly don't mean a lot in the context of the story, because at the end of the day, pretty much everyone's dead, and nothing was truly accomplished. So that was basically what my essay is about, and I just really wanted to, dive back into this story one last time and really talk about how impressive it is. I mean, for a Roblox game, right? This is not something you just sort of expect from a Roblox game. Let's look at the front page right now for Roblox, okay? We've got, like, simulator games, Adopt Me, Pet Simulator, another simulator game, Skibidi Toilet, all my favorite. I absolutely love Skibidi Toilet so much. I will admit, it's mostly for younger audiences, and that's kind of what Roblox is known for. It just goes to show that Enterworld's like a gem in this platform, and it's just insane. I don't know what to say about it. I know a lot of people won't like see this story the same way that I do, and obviously people don't really care about the story as much as I do as well. Things like, I saw Eclipse's review of the story. It's not good for him, it's shit. It's dog shit, it's a Roblox game, so be it. I mean, if you really dig deeper though, it genuinely feels like there's so much more to this. And I don't know, it's just something that I kind of wanted to, dig back into for a second here. Besides that though, I've got nothing else to say on this. If you don't want to believe Rose is alive, that's fine. I mean, it's pretty hard to imagine a situation. I know it sounds like copium, honestly, at this point, where, Rose might be alive, oh, so be it, whatever, he's just coping. I don't really care what your opinions are on that. But it just adds so much more, context to this whole thing. Yeah, I'm rambling way too much, so I'm just gonna end the video here. If you like what I had to say, feel free to subscribe, give it a like, give it a comment, tell me what you think. I'm genuinely curious if people actually see the story the same way that I do, because I haven't seen too much discourse on it, and if there has been, it must have been a long time ago, because I'm not as involved in the community as I was before. With Operators on the Horizon, I'm really looking forward to, starting up some more things in this channel. Hopefully getting some more variety content. I mean, I don't really have much planned. You can clearly see I started playing Geometry Dash and some other games, but those don't do as well as my other content, my entry point content, obviously. I don't know, there's a lot to take in here, and I'm just hoping that I can, expand my horizons a bit more. I've started university, I've got a lot to deal with that. That's always my top priority, but I like making content on the side anyway, so yeah. We'll see how this turns out. Alright, see ya.